with our first son, we were always holding him. We wouldn't let him cry for long periods of time, and it showed like he was really hard to put down, like for bedtime and everything like that. So then, when the other one, well, I guess when my son came along, it just felt easier, and we weren't as stressed. Things that we were worried about the first time round, we knew not to worry the second time round. Like we stopped overbuying. That was like probably the first thing we talked about. All those golden rules you were told as a parent. We trialed them out, and they honestly it works, you know. So I was trying to fast forward his childhood, I guess, and it is a huge regret now.
So my daughter is coming up 11 weeks old, and she's the absolute joy of my life. However, leading up to birth and post-birth was one of the most scary situations in my life. I got completely flipped upside down. I struggle with mental health. I had so many questions that were unanswered. And I searched for some information. I searched for support, but I just found that there was a lack of help available to new and expecting fathers. And so from that, I made it my mission to create Dad Disclosure, a central, safe community for new and expecting fathers and existing fathers to come together to tell their stories, to communicate with one another, ask questions, find answers, and really prepare themselves for the most beautiful, life-changing situation that they're about to go through. And so what we need from you as the listeners is to pass on our community to your friends, to your family, other fathers, other expecting fathers, and bring them on board so that they can prepare themselves for when baby arrives. So thanks, Joe. Father of three, two handsome boys, one beautiful girl. Excellent father in my eyes. I've known you from sort of the golf course, disciplined and enthusiast in the golf side of things, and you seem to be really involved with your kids and in their life. There's one of them right now. How you doing, Sailor? So thank you very much for joining me today, man. I really appreciate it, to have a good chat and talk about what it's like to have more than one child. I was always told that your first kid is kind of like a guinea pig. And when it comes to the family, you're stumbling around trying to figure out the trial and error side of things, trying to figure out how to raise them properly. Do you remember what it felt like with your sort of first, and was it the same for the other two?
Yes, no, you're definitely right. I'd say with your first child, it really did feel like you were growing up with them, because you were experiencing everything for the first time. That's what it felt like, you know. Changing diapers for the first time, feeding kids for the first time, holding them. You know, I remember even with friends now that are just having kids, holding a newborn is like, they feel so fragile. You know, you feel like you could break them, but then after you've had them for a while, they're not actually that fragile. You know. So that first kid, it did really feel like we were just learning everything, experience everything for the first time. So then, when the other one, well, I guess when my son came along, because they're quite close in age. It just felt like we were redoing what we'd already done. Yes. We looked at everything. I just felt easier, and we weren't as stressed. Things that we were worried about the first time round, we knew not to worry the second time round, so we didn't fuss with those things. And you could tell, like, the parenting styles and even their behaviours, because we were so with our first son. Because we were like experienced parenthood for the first time, we were always holding him. We wouldn't let him cry for long periods of time. You know, we're doing everything we were told not to do. Yeah, and it showed like he was really hard to put down, like for bedtime and everything like that. He always needed to be cuddled, like to sleep. Whereas when my second son came along, we were like, nah, this time around we're going to be like, you know, all those golden rules you were told as a parent. You know, like. We trialed them out, and it works, you know. That's why I always tell like new parents, I'm like, as much as you don't want to, but then at the same time I'm like, just figure it out, man. Like, you know, if you want to pick your child up, you pick your child up. Yeah. Like, you know, at the end of the day, even though it was hard, like those memories you have when you look back, like cuddling him to go to sleep. Like, you cherish those, you know, because now look at the size of him. You know, you'll probably be lifting me up the stairs.
Yeah.
You know, like, you'll never get those moments back. That is another point too, man. As you sort of, when I did have those, my obviously Jet and that, I was trying to fast forward it because he's a boy. I was like, man, I just want you to be older so we can start, I guess, experiencing like more of a friendship, you know, like because we can do things together and it's not, you know, it's things that I'm into as well. So I was trying to fast forward his childhood, I guess, in a way at the start.
Yeah.
And it is a huge regret now because when my daughter came along, for example, I really try to soak it in. And I guess when you've got a daughter, you don't want her to grow up.
Yeah.
I just want you to stay this age forever because you know it's just going to get difficult when I guess boys turn up on the scene, for example.
Yeah.
So I've tried to slow. Well, I guess I'm just soaking in everything, every single little moment with her,
Yes.
and it's like it's cool, man. I'm like, and it does really. I sort of it makes me quite sad, I guess, in a way, because I'm like, I should have really been like that with my other boys, but you live and you learn. Like, it's not to say, you know, like you said, I was present. I did work quite a lot with them when I was younger. They're going away with the Navy.
Yeah. No, that's good to know. It is. I think we've sort of discussed that before on the golf course around things that you might have changed, just to try and slow down their growth and just allow them to be children and run around and be silly.
I just think that at every age gap, at every age level, there's something to cherish.
Yeah.
You know, and you, I think it's just trying to find that thing to cherish at that age group. And with the first one, you don't know. I never thought like that. You know, I was just trying to think of things that I wanted to enjoy with them.
Yes.
Whereas it doesn't work like that, and it takes until I guess you miss it that you realise. And then so when the second one comes along, I was really like, okay, I need to really find out what I'm gonna, what's gonna be fun for them and fun for me, and
Yeah.
and thrive on it, I guess, while it's still there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because your boys were quite close together, right? So once you had your first one and you went through that first year or so and did the trial and error with them and obviously worked out how to parent in that sort of style, what sort of led you into wanting another child after that? Was it a boy? Did you have any expectations around the gender for the second one, or were you just like, cool, this is the time now?
Yeah, so the whole gender expectation, with our first kid, I was really like, I want a boy to start off with, so I was really focused on it. But I remember at one stage, after doing antenatal class and everything like that, and when you start to look into what can go wrong in childbirth, and even having a deformed child and all of those, you know, aspects of birth, I honestly just straight up looked past the idea of what gender it was going to be, and I just wanted the kid to be healthy.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want a healthy child. I don't even care what gender it is anymore. And that was how I thought through all the kids. Obviously, when we had our daughter the third time around, we were really happy. Well, because we knew we could stop. I reckon if we'd had another boy, we probably would have considered another one, eh?
Yeah.
So it did feel like we were complete in a way, and I especially for my wife, I can tell she loves having a daughter, because it's like a little mini her, you know, and you can do girly things, and even I like watching it too, you know.
No, absolutely. I mean, I can relate to that with my 8-week-old little daughter. I couldn't imagine not having a daughter. Just the fact that there's something different about having a daughter than a boy. You can dress them up, they make them look pretty. I mean, you can do that for the boy as well if you like, but it's completely up to how you want to raise them and what you sort of want to do. But I feel like, yeah, definitely for a father, that relationship with your daughter can be a lot stronger, and you can build a better relationship.
I guess too with having my second one so close, because they are close, like 2 years, it was all built based on the fact, because me and my brother, so I've only just got one brother, but I had heaps of cousins that were really close in age, and we all hung out together growing up. We all grew up together, but then me and my brother, we got 5 years apart, and we didn't really. We did certain things together, but we weren't super close because of that age gap. You know, like he was in high school and I was still in primary school at one point. You know, and and then I think there was only one point we were at high school together, but it was my first year and his last year, and so I really, I guess, and I've got friends that are twins, and they got a cool bond, like a really cool bond at this age, really competitive, and so when we had our first child, that's what I said to my wife. I want to try as soon as possible because I want our kids to grow up together and do things together, have that competitive nature together, and they do, man. It's cool as to watch, but yeah, I think the only flaw I've found is your attention can only go so far. Like you've only got so much time in your day that you can, I guess, give to kids. And when they are, even though they are close in age, they're still at two different levels of learning. And so I've tried to teach them how to play golf as well. And yeah, like one's stronger than the other. And at that age, it's a huge difference. Like one can't lift the club up properly, but the other one can. So you're trying to figure out how to teach them at that level. Sports-wise as well, I can't exactly give the rugby ball to the other one and go play tackle because the one of them will crush the other one.
Yeah,
you know? Like, maybe when they're a little bit older, that'll be something we can do together. But so that's something I sort of didn't look into, but you can definitely tell like he's trying to beat his older brother, and then his older brother hates it.
Yeah,
that's quite a cool little and that's what I wanted. So
yeah, exactly. Well, just stepping back.
For anyway.
Yeah. I was just thinking, stepping back into when you had your first and then you decided to take that journey to have your second child, did you make any adjustments or did you prepare to have that second child? Because you just talked about initially, like, I guess, worrying about how do you divert your attention or how do you spread your attention from yourself, for your own mental health, for your partner. You know, there's only so much energy and time in the day. So just with the second child, before you had the third, what did you sort of do there?
I don't. The only real adjustments I remember us making, like we stopped overbuying. That was like probably the first thing we talked about. We're like, man, we had bought so much of this stuff, but they only like would wear it once or twice, you know. So that was one thing. Like cut back on heaps of stuff. We obviously, and we obviously recycled a lot of things. Like I guess if you thought about it like on an emotional level, man, it was so far back now when I think about them at that age, because it's just such a blur, like when they mix together when I think about their childhood.
What about with Sailor then? Maybe when
that was a huge adjustment, man. Like that time round, like I felt like because we'd been through it and lived through it and then had time to process it. It just felt easy when she came along. Like it really we didn't fuss about it. I reckon too, because we weren't as young as well. At that age too, when my boys had come along, I was 22 when Jet came along. So I was still quite selfish, I reckon, as a person. So I was really still fixated on or focused on a lot of stuff for myself. Whereas when she came along, I'd given up on all of that.
Yeah.
No, I just I don't know if it's maturity or something like that. I just stopped caring about things I cared about then. That made everything. And it, I think if you really put it down to it, I think I was still quite selfish in a way. Still young, you know. Still thought I had my own dreams. Whereas now, your dreams turn into their dreams, and like I don't even care. Like I'm happy to think like that.
I think that's a massive thing, and I can relate to that because over the last couple of years I was starting this ice business, and then obviously Bub's come into the scene, and pretty much from her birth it's kind of just really about trying to reduce those big goals, those big targets that I had before. So I think that's really important, isn't it? Just once you do have a child, those huge goals and expectations that you have of yourself, you do need to try to reduce them back, because
Yeah, yeah. I think the one thing I would take, like, that I did better as a parent, I feel like my wife just crushed it, bro, through all three of them. Like, I think it's just females. It's second nature to them. They were genetically built to produce kids and raise kids, you know. But for me, what I did, like, by the time Sailor came around, I just try to be more helpful. I guess with the first two, I was sitting there waiting to be told what to do, but I didn't actually sit there and realize, like, my wife probably doesn't actually want to be telling me what to do. You know, she's definitely one to be like, you know, you're smart enough to know when to help. I shouldn't have to tell you. Yeah, and I think that was where I sort of went wrong with the first two in a way, because we didn't, especially with the first one, he slept in our bed constantly. Like, my wife was always doing all the feeding, and I was like, I think about it, I was like that person that was like, I'm going to work tomorrow, so, you know, like that's your job, you know, feeding the kid through the night and stuff like that. And when I think back to that now, I'm like, man, that was so selfish of me. You know, like, I'm lucky she didn't bloody get, you know, it's her own mental issues from that.
all that pressure, that responsibility.
Yeah, well, it was like, it took me a while before I was like, oh, you know, do you want to have your own time? So yeah, when Sailor sort of came along, like, now when I look back at it and I see my friends doing it with their kids, you know, taking the kid away or their child away and giving their wife a break and things like that, I look at it as like second nature to me now. Yes. But there was a point where I wasn't like that. So that was the biggest adjustment, I reckon. And if I could go back, that is something I would definitely try and focus on more. And like, it's your time to bond as well, and that was something I reckon I probably missed out on in a way with them.
That definitely stems from sort of social or society pressure as well. There's that mentality that the man's the breadwinner, should be going out, you know, bringing the money back, and the wife should be the one looking after the kids. Do you think that's changed quite significantly now? Fathers really want to be more involved, and
like, if I like think about what I do as a father now and what I wasn't doing before, like, I like clean the house, I fold the washing, like, you know, I'll do anything to make her day easier when she comes back. Well, I try as much as I can. As a shift worker, it does make it a bit easier because I've got those days off during the day. So I'll try and do as much as I can do at home to make it easier on her, and because we like both like go to the gym, like to work out, and that a lot. Her workout time, when she can try and fit it in, is usually at 5 o'clock at night.
okay.
So the more I can do at night, she can just come home, clean house, and I'll start cooking dinner when she goes. But I'll try to go to the gym during the day as well to avoid like us all that clashing, I guess. So that's another thing I guess you tend to have to build, I guess, as a relationship. Is trying to take as much pressure off like each other, I guess, to make it everything. Because, man, if you make everything in the household easier, like, it makes raising the kids easier. Yeah.
Well, I hope that we've been able to highlight some really good topics and answer some questions for fathers looking to expand their family. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, Joe, mate. I really appreciate your stories and your personal experiences.
Hope I helped.